What's up, YouTube? Coin flip back, and today is going to be a little bit different. I hunted this $50 bag of pennies with my son, and it was absolutely epic, to say the least. This is everything that we found in that bag, and this isn't just copper. These are all wheat cents. There are some Canadians and foreigns and stuff in here. I don't know if I can still see it here. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff. So rather than bring you in on all of those and edit it that way, I'll go through all of these finds from this bag and we will lay them out and kind of go through them. I have not searched any of them for varieties or errors, but it was obviously a collection dump, and we knew within the first couple handfuls, because we were pulling out, I don't know, the first couple handfuls were 2 or 3, and then it progressively went into 10. I think the most we got in one handful was 13. So he was, to say the least, he was super excited. So we did it off camera, so hope you're okay with that. But we just found absolute ridiculous amount of wheat pennies. I have no idea how many this is. So we're going to find all that out together. We're going to sort them out by year. And we did find one Indian head cent as well, and I don't even recall the year. So again, let's get into what the finds were, and we'll sort it out with you, and we'll go through them together. All right, well, that did take quite a bit longer than I thought. There was a lot of 50s, obviously, even made double rows for some of the years, and then on lots of 40s, and I also did doubles of years as well. Basically the 50s all the way to 58s, and then 40 to 49, 30, 39, 20, and so on. So with that being said, there's so many here that I just basically stacked them by year. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera again and get them separated by decades, and then PD and S where applicable. So there was obviously a lot here. I don't have a total count yet. I will get that for you for each decade, and we'll add those up. But again, this hunt was just, I've never had anything like it, to be honest. And seeing my son's reaction when we had so many, and we started filming it, and then we just ran into so many that I was like, there's so many here. The video would probably be, 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long, be ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to get this stuff situated by decade, and then we'll show PD and S, and then we're going to go through them for any mint errors or varieties, and bring you in. So let's do that, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right, so here are the 50s: 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. And as you can see, this is the P, D, and S mint marks. We are going to go through any varieties and errors. Like the 55 is obviously a popular one. I think there's one on the 57 and 58 as well. We're going to go through these, check for any die chips, varieties, errors, that sort of stuff. So we'll go off camera. We'll let you know if we find anything in the 50s, but 214 wheat pennies in just the 50s alone. So I think we've got to be really close to that in the 40s. Pretty cool to see, because that's over 4 rolls actually of wheat pennies just in the 50s. I think we have 4 more rolls in the 40s, if I had to take a guess, give or take, and then 30s, 20s, and teens, pretty low obviously. But anyway, we'll go off camera, we'll check these for what I mentioned earlier and see if there's any additional finds within this batch. All right guys, so we just hunted the 50s, and there wasn't much in there for any errors or varieties. That being said, we did check all the normal RPMs or OMMs, repunch mint marks or over mint marks. Also checked for double dies. Didn't really see anything. We did find some that had die chips, but nothing very big that I would consider even worth any value, to be honest. So we threw them all back in the tray as I just showed you. Here are the 40s, and obviously 40s, 41s, 42, 3, only one steel cent, and it's a 43 Philly. 44s, 45s, 46, 47, 48, and 49. So pretty well got the 40s covered, which is cool to see, and a decent variety as well. That being said, I want to put them under the scope and verify what they are, kind of what's going on with them. But I'll bring in for those if I see them or if we find any, and then obviously we'll move on to the 30s, 20s, and teens. We'll probably do that as the next batch just to keep the video going for you. All right, guys. Well, we got all the 40s checked out, and really not much to mention there. We do have some spot fillers, which we'll go over at the end. There was a 1947D, and that one basically had the 7 missing, like it was a grease error. So I'll put a picture of that one on the screen here for you. As you can see, that 7's pretty much gone with no excessive damage or wear there. It just looks like a grease error of some sort. And then we also had a 1948 Denver as well. And this one's interesting. I've never seen this. It looks like it's on the planchet because the mint mark looks unaffected, but the mint mark area looks like there's a big, I don't know. It's like a gouge, but the mint mark hasn't been touched. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, or if you've seen that before. Maybe you know what it is, but I thought that was interesting as well. But here we have everything else. And over here we have some foreigns, a couple Canadians, nothing to speak of. This one is Republic of Deutschland, 1961. 2 Pfennig. I don't know. Not familiar, but anyway, we have the 30s. These are the 30s here. All Phillies. These are the Denvers. This one's a 30 Denver, 34, 35 P and D, 36 Phillies, 37 Phillies and Denvers, 38 Phillies, 39 Phillies. This 39 Philly, pretty neat. Has that wood grain effect. Unfortunately, a little bit of corrosion in the front of his face there, but otherwise, very cool. Also had a 1920 Philly, a 26 Philly, and 2 28 Phillies. We also had 3 1919 Phillies. This one is very tough to read, but you can see it here. It's probably the best way. It looks like a 1918 Philly, a little bit worn. It's hard to see under the scope. And then the Indian head. And this one is the one I showed you guys or talked about in the beginning. This one is a 1905. Pretty gnarly color on it. Unfortunately, lots of damage, but still very cool to say the least. Several pennies over 100 years old, which is just crazy to me. But so we're going to go through these lastly, and then we'll just pull out those books quick and go over how many we had. We had 171 wheat cents in the 40s. Gives us a total so far without these of 385. So I think we're going to be right around that 400 or so mark, maybe just over. And so I just assume 8 rolls were dumped in this bag, which were turned in, which is kind of neat. Anyway, we'll get a total. We'll check for errors and varieties, and we'll be right back. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. We ended up with a total of 417 wheat pennies and tons of spot fillers and upgrades for our books. We'll go over that here momentarily, but this has just been unbelievable so far. Obviously nothing crazy, no extreme finds with double dates or super valuable pennies, but overall just been such a fun hunt with my son, and it took forever to go through and sort all of them, see what we needed, see what upgraded, and see if there's any varieties or errors. And then lastly, this Indian head, which is just, I hope it's capturing the color there. Pretty cool piece. Obviously it's probably been cleaned or whatever, but just, again, it's a 1905, and it holds something that's that old with this kind of damage. Like what kind of stories can this tell? So that's always unique and fun. So let's go over the books. But basically, here's our book. I'm trying to start over here for you. We filled in the 75, even though we don't have to. But basically, this is all done. We did not find any 55S or 54 Phillies, so those remain open. And then on this side, we start at 1941 Philly. We don't have a 1943 Denver steel penny, and we don't have a 49S. We did not find one of those this time either. So really only 4 spots open at the moment. So that's pretty cool. I grab my cheat sheet here just to give you an idea of what we did fill in and what was upgraded. So I'm just going to read these off for you in no particular order because I wrote them down kind of wonky. But 57 Philly was a spot filler. 1950 Philly here, 50 Philly, 50S, 51 and 51S, 52S here, and 53 Philly were all spot fillers for the first book. I apologize. We also have some 40s in here too. So let me find these. The 41S, 46S. Here, 47S, 47 Denver, 48 Denver. I'm sorry, the 47 Denver and 48 Denver we upgraded. And that pretty much wraps up this book as far as upgrades or spot fillers. But very cool. This number 2 is pretty well complete with the exception of 4 total pennies here. So pretty happy with that. The number 1 book here, obviously this one is the one that's going to be pretty well open. These are going to be much tougher to find. Obviously, all of these are pretty close to 100 years or 100 years older. Anyway, that being said, we'll try to start over here on this side. There we go. Our 1940 Philly upgraded. We did fill spots for the 40D and the 40S. Let's get down here to the 30s. 38 Philly. This was an upgrade. 37 Denver was a filler. 35 Philly was a filler, as well as the Denver and the 1934 Denver. This one's pretty low vintage, 28 million. 1930 Denver was a spot filler, only 40 million of those. And then the 1928 we upgraded, as well as the 1920 was upgraded. We had the 19s, and then we did have an 18 as well, and neither one of those upgraded. But our oldest find is a 13 Philly, but this is kind of gives you an idea of the book. Lots of spots to fill in this number 1 book. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this hunt. Hope you stuck around for this one. It was definitely a unique hunt, a little bit different style. Nonetheless, it was pretty enjoyable for us. Hopefully you guys liked it as well. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that like button. Comment what you think, what you thought. If we could get on some silver like this, man, I'd be a happy camper. Not to sound greedy, but pennies are fun. Lots of copper here, but we're after the silver, and we're going to go try to find some. We'll catch you on that next one. Coin flip out.